wasn't just you guys getting annoyed by it, it was me also. Welcome back to the Gaming Careers podcast. We've now fixed our teething issues. It wouldn't be a live stream without a couple of hiccups, and maybe that's indicative of the fact that we took a break for a couple of weeks. We've forgotten all the skills of how to live stream, and we have to learn it all again. We, as Ben was trying to say, if you could hear through the echo, missed a couple of weeks, one due to me taking a skiing holiday and one due to neither of us feeling particularly well with what's going around at the moment. But we are back, which means we have like 3 weeks worth of news to cover. So plenty to get through today, this evening. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody joining from all around the world. Good to see so many of you in chat pointing out, the echo that we that we're well aware of. But let's first find out. Yeah, I mean, that's what you want, receptive audience. Yeah. We got the low latency chat on. We can hear from them exactly what's going on. All the people listening to the podcast are I will have cut out that beginning bit, so they're going to wonder what we're talking about. But,
I just want to say I appreciate it because everybody has those streams where you have something wrong, but no one tells you in chat until like an hour in, and then you feel awful. So yeah, we dodged that bullet completely. Thanks, chat. I appreciate that.
Yeah, they're on it. Obviously, the Gaming Careers audience, they know their stuff. They probably would have been able to solve that issue much quicker than I did. But Ben, let's find out how you are. We're both feeling better, obviously, back this week. But yes. How are you? How are you in general? How are things over in the States?
Good. Yeah, I'm super busy with work lately, but stuff is going pretty well. There's a lot of new games coming out with Elden Ring and Fortnite even having an update, which we're going to talk about later. So it's a fun time for streaming. Lots of streamer awards even happening. And I've just been really loving streaming lately, so I'm pretty excited. Pete, about you? I know we were both kind of sick last week, but mine was just gone in a couple of days. Did you fully recover since last Monday as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you can kind of do work, but feeling up to doing a live podcast, wasn't really feeling it. So yeah, feeling much better, thanks. Keen to get into the news, really. We'd like to start with the less meaningful news, I guess. And the first bit tonight is basically that summed up. It's a couple of weeks old now, but it's still worth talking about, I think. That is the news of DrDisrespect basically announcing nothing, but that the legal dispute with Twitch has finished. Neither party admits to any wrongdoing, but we'll never know, will we? We will never know the full reasons behind Doc's ban on Twitch and him having to move to YouTube. That's just how it's going to be.
It's the greatest unsolved mystery of streaming. Someday I feel like maybe we'll learn about it, but yeah, like you said, you announced nothing here. Just the fact that they've resolved disputes, whatever that means. Even though he's still technically banned, I think, on Twitch, and you can't stream anything from Doc on Twitch still. So I don't know what this actually changes. I guess it just drops the lawsuit that was involved from all this. So it doesn't really affect us too much.
Yeah, there was Hikaru this week also got banned, I think, for either watching Doc or featuring some of Doc's YouTube live stream or something like that.
I'm pretty sure he was watching Doc play chess. And this was after Doc had announced that everything was resolved, right? So it seems like, well, can we show Doc on Twitch now? But no, apparently he's still not able to be shown on streams, which is such a weird... I mean, I get it, them being banned and not wanting to show banned streamers, but also, like, if they resolved everything, then I don't know. It seems strange to me that they would still be banning after all this stuff happening.
Just one of those things, isn't it? It's one of Twitch's kind of weird rules, and you can kind of understand behind it. Anyway, I feel like most people probably don't care too much about Doc's banning and this all being over, because we've all been interested in about for a year and a half, and we still don't know the reason. We also saw the first ever Streamer Awards, which was hosted by streamers, for streamers. It wasn't anything to do with Twitch or YouTube or any of these platforms. Did you catch any of this, Ben? What was your take?
Yeah, I was trying to watch some of it when it was live. It was, I think, to my knowledge, the first like formal awards show that we've had just for streaming, because we have the gaming awards and the esports awards, I think, now, but those are broader than just streaming. So this was kind of cool to see a night just for streamers, in particular for Twitch and YouTube mainly. And I think it was hosted by QT Cinderella on her channel. And the viewership before it was insane. Like, I think 300,000 people watching this, which was apparently way bigger than they were expecting for this event. So it went very well. It seems like it involved a lot of, obviously, kind of popular streamers in that whole group on Twitch, plus some music and other things happening during there. And it was kind of like a mix of informal plus the formal. They were all dressed up, but then still, I think they were like handing out coloring books on the tables and memeing a lot during the show. So it seemed very Twitch appropriate for this event. And I just think it was cool to see an event like this be put on to this scale. I know it's the first time they've done that, and there's been some kind of criticism on how it was run, but overall, I think it was a pretty cool event. Did you see it at all, Pete?
I didn't see anything other than sort of the Twitter threads about it. I think it's a great idea, and obviously it's a huge undertaking to try and organize something like this, especially when there's like the actual in-person side of it, you know, people attending the event and red carpet and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a bit of a shame that it was run by like the friends of so many of these streamers. And I think one of the main criticisms that I've seen, and I agree with, is that it's like 95% American streamers, like the people that you see on Livestream Fail every single week.
Yeah.
And we've seen through the Twitch Atlas that the platform's much bigger than that. There's a huge Spanish community, Russian, Brazilian, like there's way more than just the North American side of Twitch. So I thought, like, looking through the winners of all the different awards, they're like your main names that you see every single time. So I think there's some criticism about how these are run, and I have no doubt that the same criticisms probably exist with the Oscars and other, you know, mainstream events like these, like who is deciding who is put up for each award and all those kind of things. But I think there's space for this kind of award show. You know, we do something at the end of the year each year, don't we, in terms of rounding up all the news, like voting on our favorite hardware that was released that's streamer focused, those kind of things. So nowhere near on the same scale, but I do definitely think that there's an appetite for these kind of shows. I would never watch it personally, but I think, you know, no harm done if people want to watch and vote for these kind of things.
Yeah, I think the criticism's fair. Like you said, the fact that a lot of people that won were friends of the hosts, and it was kind of like an internal friend group. But I think at least gotta give credit for putting on this event, because it wasn't easy to go out and do, right? This was something that took a lot of production and budget. So I respect that quite a bit. But yeah, I think to your point, Pete, we gotta get some trophies and stuff for next year so we can do our own streamer awards of some kind for this podcast, I guess. Gotta make it more official and dress up in all the 9 yards.
Yeah, put some budget towards making some awards. I'd like to get to the point where like MKBHD does his smartphone awards every year, and he like hands out best camera and things like that. I don't think there's enough hardware to do that, but we can certainly think of something when it comes to the end of the year.
Yeah, we should try it.
Other small little bits of news. You mentioned it actually in the intro of this, the fact that Fortnite has had a pretty big resurgence. It's actually we're pulling up the graph here from Silly Name. Sorry, I can't zoom in much more than this, but you can see that sort of for the past week, it's tripled, maybe even quadrupled its usual viewer base, which is pretty insane. And actually, I saw a stat on Silly Name that said it's the most popular game to stream on Twitch this week, with 1 million different hours streamed. So not only a massive bump in viewership, but also a massive bump in number of streamers streaming it. Digging into that a little bit further, it's not surprising because it was a pretty major update to Fortnite where they removed building, which I think a lot of casual players hated the fact that the game was so based on the mechanics of the building, which is kind of weird because it's called Fortnite and it's like building your forts. But now they've removed that, so maybe it should just be called Night. But it's a bit more deathmatchy now, I guess, a bit more like a normal battle royale type game. But we always like to look at the stats of which games are popular and talk about, you know, new games that we can see upcoming, being streamed a lot, being viewed a lot, and also, you know, big events take these esports titles, you know, to a new level in terms of viewership and number of people streaming. Whether it'll hold on, I don't know. It could just be a 2-week sort of flavor of the month type thing that people stream. I've never played a single game of Fortnite, so I am the last person you should be asking as to whether this is going to stick around or if it's just a temporary thing. Ben, you offer any insight on the Fortnite world? You're 14, aren't you?
Yeah. How'd you know? It's the
14-year-old gamer
game. Yeah. No, I actually did re-download this to try it out. I haven't actually played it since I downloaded it, but I thought it was cool that it's getting more attention for it now. Apparently, this is just a patch, right? So I don't think they've committed to removing this for good. So if this is like a 2-week patch where they remove the feature and then bring it back, then I feel like it's just going to undo all the hype. But then I think even in that article that you showed there, people were kind of saying that Epic should just keep it that way because it's very popular. And so they should probably stick to that if they want to stay popular with everything. So it'll be interesting. Like you said, it's always interesting to see which games are popular and trending throughout the year. I'm sure we'll have more surprise games kind of come out. I think right now Elden Ring has still been dominating, I'd say, longer than I would expect most single player games to last. Like even Horizon Zero, the sequel, I think that was pretty much gone off Twitch within the first couple of days, whereas Elden Ring has stayed pretty consistent. So we'll kind of see what the next one that's big is. I would just guess Starfield and stuff later this year, but that's still pretty far away at this point.
Yeah, it feels to me like any kind of streamer that has the ability to mix up the game that they're streaming, other people that are, you know, able to take advantage of this, or the people that have just been streaming Fortnite nonstop, you know, and get to use all of this new viewership or users coming back to watch a bit more Fortnite. To me, it seems like the stats are probably swayed a little bit because big streamers have gone back to streaming it temporarily, maybe only for a week, versus there being like a new demand of people wanting to watch it. It's probably their normal viewers tuning into their normal stream, and that streamer is just playing Fortnite instead. But always worth keeping track of these, you know, games that are trending. I mean, really, the main chunk of the news this week that we're going to be covering is platform updates. So, you want to start with YouTube or Twitch, Ben?
I think we can start with YouTube. I feel like we always start with Twitch first, right? So why not do YouTube this time first? There's two kind of main things to talk about, I would say. The first is this video they put out, which is a sneak peek of upcoming features, or some that I think that are already out, but they have formally announced them now via this video. And there's basically 5 features in this video that are streamed throughout, and not all of them have great examples. But yeah, Pete, you've got some samples here. So this first one we've talked about on the podcast before, which is go live together, so they're calling it. And it's basically you have a link that you can send to someone, and then they can join your stream. Kind of like what we've seen on TikTok and Instagram, where you have the mashup kind of easy conferencing type streaming. So this one's pretty interesting. I don't think we got a date specifically on this one at all, but I guess it just makes it really easy to collab, especially for non-gaming stuff, for IRL and just kind of conversational topics. It is very easy if you can just take a link and send it to somebody directly, and that's it. No setup involved there. So I could see this being pretty popular on YouTube for the non-gaming section, especially. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that the screenshot is from mobile, because I'd like to know a bit more about if this is desktop friendly. You know, I'm sure you can go live from your desktop without the need for like any extra software. Like you can probably just do it from your browser and add your webcam. And it would make sense that you could still do this for desktop streams, but the screenshot that they share is mobile only, and it just looks exactly the same. Exactly as you said, like Instagram, TikTok, these platforms where you can sort of invite someone else to go live. I'd also like to know, what are the limitations? Is it just one person? Can you add 4? Can you add 400 and, you know, have really tiny little avatars next to each other? But yeah, I think all of these features we have talked about before, but they hadn't put it out in the video. And just to mention, this is the Creator Insider YouTube channel. Absolutely, if you're interested in YouTube or you create on YouTube, you should be subscribed to this channel. It's effectively YouTube's employees talking about new features every single week. So I think they release a video every single week talking about all the new features, and they do some special ones like this where they're talking just about live features. Well worth getting subscribed to. It's pretty much where we get all of our YouTube news from. Let's move on to the second one. We definitely talked about this in the last podcast because it was the thumbnail, the live rings. So the avatar that you have on YouTube now basically shows the activity if you're live. So people that are browsing your VOD content can see at a glance, oh, this person's got a red ring around them with live next to it, which means they're on a live stream. You can just click that once and it takes them to live. We talked about it, how great it is as a feature. It's such a small feature, but it's going to enable people to basically massively increase their discoverability, because they can basically use their whole catalog of VOD videos to advertise whenever they're live. So this might be live even on this channel. I wonder if anybody for this live stream has arrived because they're watching one of my videos and then saw that I had the live ring. I think when we were talking about it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever we last went live with this podcast, it was just mobile only. So maybe it's rolled out further than that. This video is a week old or so now, so not the latest info necessarily. But definitely a cool one. Definitely one that we've talked about before. You want to go on to the next one, or anything else to add to this, Ben?
Yeah, just the fact. So I think it is still only on mobile as far as I've seen, but they did confirm that they have plans to extend it across browser later this year. So they didn't commit to a date on it, but it should come to the desktop experience too, which would be huge. I think mobile is the bigger audience overall, but yeah, this is basically just more reason to make YouTube videos to grow as a streamer. So especially if you're on YouTube specifically, obviously this doesn't apply to Twitch, but yeah, one of the best discoverability features I've seen on YouTube in a long time. So pretty excited for that one. Our next feature is what are called what YouTube calls cross-channel live redirects, aka raids from Twitch. It's like the same functionality, right? For this one, you need to have 1,000 subscribers to get this function. But yeah, basically, you can specify streamers that you want to send your stream to at the end of your stream. Or I think you can set it to be channels you subscribe to, maybe like an auto host type thing after you're done streaming. So there's some more details in the video and maybe the article. I don't know if they have any examples of this in the video, Pete. I think it's mostly just showing some of the or talking about the feature versus showing it here.
Yeah, there's no screenshots to share really, but you did a good job of explaining it. I think previous to this, you could always redirect your live streams to one of your own videos, and recently they've had the ability to redirect to like a trailer that you upload. So this is just an extension of that, I guess, where you can live redirect, aka raid, another streamer that is live on the platform. And then a couple of mobile features to do with full screen mode and chat overlays, basically. So whilst live and browsing on mobile, you can choose to have the stream full screen. You can choose to have the chat pop out, and then you can. I think there's a third option where you can have sort of just an overlay of like the key moments from chat or something like that. It doesn't actually have a screenshot of that, but that's what they explain. Unless you've heard anything different, Ben.
Yeah, that's mostly what I heard for this one too. I don't know exactly what the key moments will be. I guess if there are donations and things like that.
I think it's like polls. Like
okay,
if the streamer starts a poll, then you'll still see it even if you've got the chat hidden. That kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of YouTube streams on mobile, but I'm curious if this one is supposed to be out this week. So maybe people here are already seeing it and can watch in that mode. I would love to hear if you guys are using that mode even right now, maybe. It's pretty interesting. And the last feature doesn't have an example in the video. They just talked about this one too, but this is basically a live Q&A feature, which will let you, I believe the way to describe it is you can pin questions to the top of chat. So the same way that right now my message is pinned in this chat. And I think in that last example, Pete, they had a little snip at the top of the chat to show like a highlighted message. I believe that's how it will work. Where you can highlight someone's question essentially, and then you're responding to that message for your stream. So the idea is you can go through a bunch of questions and highlight one at a time from your chat, which is kind of cool. I don't think Twitch has an example of this feature built in yet in terms of like highlighting a specific message in the chat. So this one is a little more unique, I'd say, than just, replicating raids like we saw earlier. But it seems like maybe kind of niche. I don't know how much it'll get used, Pete. What do you think?
It's basically a much worse version of what we built here, where we can feature chat messages just like this from people talking live in our chat. I say we built it. It's definitely not been built by us. We're just using it. But yeah, it's nice for YouTube to be building those kind of features. It's not going to overlay on the stream, but it's going to highlight in chat when they're talking about it effectively. And I wonder if it will show in that highlighted mobile version of chat where you haven't got the chat popped out. Probably. That's probably the kind of things that they want to include. The last thing YouTube wise is an update to clips. So clips have been around for live channels for a while, but I can't remember what the old threshold is, but they've lowered the threshold now so that it's enabled on channels with over 1,000 subscribers. So I think maybe it was 10K, maybe it was 50K. It was somewhere around then. Pretty high bar, really, in terms of YouTube. And 1K is still a pretty high bar, but now all creators with over 1,000 subscribers have the clips functionality enabled on their channel.
Yeah, I think one thing to call out about this is on YouTube, it's not just clips for live streams. So you can use clips for videos too, which is kind of interesting if like maybe there's a part of the video that you want to share with somebody, but that you don't want to send the whole video to them. Even like one of Pete's videos, there's one specific tip you want to give somebody versus the whole video. That seems kind of interesting to me. And I think that could be used, especially offsite on like Twitter or Reddit, things like that, where you just want to shoot that little snippet. So I feel like that's an underused feature. And obviously clips is one of the biggest things that YouTube has needed for a long time. So I'm excited to see it roll out. 1K subs is still kind of a big bar for people though, especially because everybody on Twitch on the platform has it. So I feel like they have to bring it down eventually to just be something anybody can use. I don't know how long that'll take for them though.
Yeah, usually when any platform like releases features like this and then they set like a bar, the reason that they're doing that, as well as incentivizing people to try and get 1,000 subscribers, because that is eventually going to make YouTube money, it's really to do with feature rollout, and they don't want to roll something out to absolutely everyone and then realize that there's a critical bug in that and then it gets abused by a lot more people rather than if they restrict it and roll out in waves. I get that it's kind of annoying when they roll it out based on subscriber count. But trust me, it's even worse not being based in America, because usually features roll out to America first, and then you've got all of us in the rest of the world waiting for a feature just because we're not from the same country. So yeah, it is annoying. Hopefully YouTube lowers the barrier to entry right the way down to anybody. I think anybody can now live stream. I don't think there's a restriction to people being able to live stream. There used to be on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure now even a brand new account can live stream as long as they've added some kind of mobile verification. So it'd be nice if they could also, highlight clips, because it's a good way to grow your channel. I think that's it for YouTube, isn't it? Is it onto Twitch stuff now, Ben? Do you want to introduce the first one then?
Sure thing. Yeah. So there's, I think, 4, maybe like 3.5 changes on the Twitch side this week. The first one is a couple weeks old. Again, we've not done a podcast here in a bit, but this was a just simple redesign to the viewers list on Twitch. So now, instead of having, how it was just the purple names before, where it was just a laundry list of names all slammed together, now you have kind of sections of your chat that'll show you broadcaster, moderators, community VIPs, and then viewers in those 4 buckets. And you can kind of collapse these if you only want to see one of them. I think this is fine personally. I actually saw people being kind of upset about this, because I guess some people like to see all their viewers in one snip at the same time. But for me, like, I'm never monitoring my viewer list too much. So I thought it was a nice change. I don't know, Pete and chat, I'm curious what you guys think about this in general.
I don't understand how people can get upset about something like this. Like, surely you must have things in your life that are more worthy of your time than getting upset about separating of categories of viewers. Do Twitch staff show differently? Because obviously they used to stand
probably
out. I wonder if they have their own section, or if they've been caught too many times in Amaranth's streams and
Maybe
they're just grouped together with the rest of the viewers.
That was the secret intent, was to hide the staff. Now you can no longer see that they're in your channel.
Exactly.
Could be.
Yeah, I think this is a nice feature, and good to get a screenshot. I think Nick A30 got the screenshot, so we've stolen that from him for the purposes of this pod. There's also 2 new products, not the most exciting, but in terms of reporting and appeals, these are very important. Obviously, there's a lot of false DMCA strikes that will probably happen over the next few years as the system becomes more widely known about. So there needs to be a proper appeals process as well. So these are 2 new features that Twitch have talked about. A better experience for reporting streams. So they've got like a little GIF here for the people that are watching. I'll blow this up a little bit bigger, where you can now, report streams and easily select a reason, such as cheating in the game, or what other reason that you'd need to report a stream for. Not super exciting, but maybe more important is the new appeals portal. So I think the URL is appeals.twitch.tv. If you go to that, then you'll be able to see a list of any DMCA strikes that have happened on your channel. If I go to it, I unfortunately don't have any DMCA strikes because I haven't streamed on Twitch for probably 2+ years. And I would never use copyrighted music anyway, would I, Ben? Too smart for that. But now you can appeal those processes and submit all the information that's relevant, which obviously is needed, because if there was just the DMCA side of things and there was no way to appeal, then that's kind of giving all the power to the people and none of the power to the streamers. So nice from Twitch to see that they've properly built a portal that you can easily go to and find all of your notifications about anything to do with DMCA. And I imagine more than just DMCA will probably end up there. You'll probably find out about any kind of other infractions that you've committed on your Twitch channel. Anything to add to this, Ben? I don't think it's going to have a heavy opinion from you, because
I don't know I don't think this will affect most people. Hopefully most people aren't getting banned and needing to use the appeals portal. Or the reporting thing is nice. I think it gives you more options for reporting. And what they said for both of these is that it's supposed to be a faster response from Twitch for both the report feedback and also for, if you want to appeal something. So I guess that's good. If you're in the situation, you should get a faster response now to some stuff. I know Twitch has had a lot of issues with bans going out and not really giving a reason why you're being banned. I think even still recently. So hopefully part of this process is more clarity on why you're getting banned and what the path back is, stuff like that. So for users like that, I guess it is a pretty good change too.
Do you actually hear of many stories of streamers wrongfully being banned. I imagine a lot of people complain about it, but I'd be surprised if the MCA is that big of a problem in terms of false strikes.
Yeah, so I don't know about DMCA actually. I think what I've seen from Twitch the most is that they're not clear on why you get banned. Like they'll tell you you've been banned for 3 days, and you can probably imply why most of the time. But even like I know Destiny just got banned, and he's like didn't give a reason exactly why he was banned, and that's been an ongoing thing for whether it's DMCA or hateful conduct, whatever. So I think that could be improved either way, so that at least you know why. But yeah, it's hard to say because I've never been banned myself, so I haven't been exactly the process. Believe it or not, I have not yet been banned. You never know.
There's something I'm sure we can do. We'll just run the podcast on your Twitch stream a few times, and we can make sure that you get a couple of strikes. I'm sure. For me, like the big streamers getting banned, like Destiny and things like that, it seems to me that Twitch maybe always have been looking for a reason to get people like that off their platform for a while, and they just eventually found one and kind of swept it all under there. But yeah, it is a bit of a problem, I guess, when you can't find out the reason, like if it's not obvious to you why you might have been banned. And you know, Twitch is pretty involved in those kind of decisions, like more so than you see with YouTube. Like YouTube's infractions section seems to be very computer decided rather than a person deciding that this person should get a strike for something or other, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, neither YouTube or Twitch really has to give you a reason why you're being banned, but I think it's kind of like the right thing to do most of the time, unless maybe there's some reason why they don't want to tell you why you're getting banned, because maybe that would cause more social media, I don't know, outrage or something. But yeah, it just seems strange to me that not only like these extreme streamers, but your everyday streamers don't really know why it's happening. So I'd like to see more clarity on that, at least from Twitch's side.
Let's go to the next feature then. And these are kind of two features in one, I would say. They're both to do with the hype train. The first one, which Zach Bussy has reported on, is there is a new setting for hype trains, which is called autopilot. Effectively, if you enable it, it allows the automatic adjustment of thresholds and timers that you can usually control manually for your hype trains. So it's effectively, I guess, using a bit of machine learning to automatically get the most value out of a hype train in terms of monetary value anyway. I don't know if I necessarily really have a problem with it. I would have thought this is kind of how they would have set it up first, but I guess it's a little bit more complicated than the way that they originally had it set up. But yeah, it's a feature that people need to know about. And if you don't know what hype train is, for anybody that doesn't stream on Twitch, it's effectively Twitch's way of trying to encourage your viewers to spend more money in terms of bits, in terms of subs, in terms of gifted subs, by basically making a moment out of any kind of increased activity. So if all of a sudden you get 2 subs in 5 minutes, and that's rare for you to get that many subs in 5 minutes, Twitch automatically starts a hype train where it encourages the other people watching to spend money. And the common thing that gets spammed in chat the whole time is scam train. Oh, I just saw a message in chat saying scam train, but now I've realized it's yours, so I'm highlighting yours. And you've already got a voice on this podcast, Ben, so you don't need to type in chat and have your voice in here and be highlighted on screen all at once. But yeah, this is enabling some kind of automatic adjustment of the thresholds for the spam train, the scam train, the hype train,
whatever you want to call it. I think one interesting point here is that a couple people responded to Zach and said that they tried this and they're getting less hype trains than usual now with the autopilot. So I would test this out if you are someone who tends to get hype trains and make sure it's working for you, because it's very new. So maybe they're not calibrating it very well on what they think should be a hype train. So I don't know. In general, I think it's nice though, because hype trains are rare. So I feel like you shouldn't really be spending time setting specific intervals for hype trains if that's an option versus just letting Twitch kind of figure it out most of the time.
Well, that segues nicely into the second feature. I mean, they need to drop this train analogy, I feel, at some point. It's gone too far. The new feature they are calling Boost Train. And this, the easiest way to explain it, especially for people that aren't watching the screen of us sort of going through the Boost Train guide that Twitch have put out, is effectively just an additional level to the hype train, where one of the benefits that can be unlocked is for your viewers to be able to boost the stream. So the old feature that took a lot of heat was called Boost This Streamer, Boost This Stream, one of those two, but effectively where your viewers could pay money for your stream to get more impressions on the homepage. It would be featured in different locations on the homepage and get like 1,000 impressions for $1. That was the screenshot that went around anyway. And a few people did some experiments and saw that, you know, there wasn't really much value in it, but it was an experiment. I don't think Twitch have really pushed it much since that initial trial run. And this is the next thing we've kind of heard about it. So Boost Train, we can sort of go through the FAQ and the guide here. I'll read out what is Boost Train. This will be a good example. So this is what Twitch describes Boost Train as. Boost Train is a supercharged hype train where viewers can purchase recurring or gift subscriptions or use bits to unlock a boost reward in addition to other hype train rewards. So that first sentence just basically describes what hype train is. Recurring gift subscriptions or bits to unlock a boost reward, which was like the hype train emotes effectively. So nothing new there. Next section is the boost reward promotes creators' channels to highly visible parts of Twitch. That's what we saw with Boost This Streamer. This promotion can help more viewers discover you, your community, and your content. Creators receive the same revenue from recurring subs, gift subs, and bits contributed as part of the Boost Train as they would normally. So I think I did a pretty good job of summing it up at the start. It's effectively hype train with a new reward, which is the Boost This Streamer. We've just lost your camera, Ben. I don't know if... Oh, you're back again. I don't know if that was my end. All the technical issues tonight. You seem to be frozen. Are you still on the call? Maybe we've lost Ben completely. I'll do a bit of solo. So yeah, Boost This Stream. Whilst we wait for Ben to come back. Boost Train, in fact, is what it's called. Let's call it by its official name. I mean, I think this is a better way of implementing Boost This Streamer than the previous version, with effectively asking the community watching a streamer to spend money to put that streamer in these prominent places on the homepage. But it's effectively the same feature, and it didn't get received very well previously. I wonder if the tiering system in terms of money spent is going to be the exact same, or if it's going to be different. Ben's just messaged saying that his streaming PC has frozen, so hopefully we get him back soon. But maybe this is a chance for me to talk with the people in chat. Unmuted Tab said, "Yo dog, we heard you like trains, so we put a train into your booster train into your hype train." Exactly. They need to drop the train analogy. It's gone too far. Boost trains, hype trains, too many trains going on. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's the worst idea. I said back in the Boost the Streamer time that I thought effectively when you could encourage your community to share something that means that a stream gets featured more on Twitch and gets more viewers isn't a bad thing. It was just the kind of predatory nature that Twitch advertised it to streamers with, effectively help the streamer become big by spending your hard-earned money. It becoming part of the hype train rewards, I don't think really changes that side of things, but I don't think it's the worst feature in the world. I'd definitely like to see what you guys think in chat. Shortgate Stream says, it's definitely better and gives another incentive for viewers to give bits and subs. Yeah, so that's an interesting take. And if that is how it works, then I think that's an even better system than I was initially thinking. So if the boost is actually a reward for hitting a level on the hype train, then that is, maybe that is exactly what it is. I haven't read this every single word. So that is a better system, I think, than paying for the boost feature and that contributing to the hype train. So that actually does make more sense the more I'm thinking about it. You're completely right, Shortcake Streams. If it's in a reward-based system where when you hit a certain tier, the streamer will get featured on those different places, then that sounds much more like a well-thought-out feature. Callie Wally says, "I'm just waiting for Twitch to jump on the short clips train." What do you mean by that? As in different system to their normal clips? Ben says that he's back now. Ben, can I hear you?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome back. Can I see you? I can see you.
Hopefully, yeah. Sorry
He's
about
back.
that. As happens with streaming, man. One of those days.
It is one of those days. We're having all kinds of technical issues tonight. You made me feel the pure panic of hosting a stream on my own. I haven't done that in so long, Ben. I had to come up with opinions on things and not just, defer it to you whenever I needed a second to think about Boost Train Guide. I have learned something new though. I mean, I don't know if you were listening throughout that, but who was it? Shortcake Streams pointed out the fact that maybe it is a system where the reward for hitting a certain hype train level is that the streamer gets boosted. Whereas
Yes.
okay, that is how it works. Interesting. I should have read this in much more detail.
So.
I thought maybe it was you could contribute with a booster streamer and that counted towards a hype train. Whereas it sounds like it's the opposite, which is a much better system.
Yeah, they've tried to create a metaphor for this, I think, where once you hit the max speed or whatever on the hype train, then it becomes a boost train and it takes off, right? And then you're being boosted, which is, you can argue whether that's a good metaphor or not. But yeah, I think the idea is you go through a regular hype train and then there's this new level sort of boosting where you're getting that boost my stream effect at the end of it. So this is definitely better than the previous boost my stream for a couple of reasons. The biggest is that they're actually getting the rewards from the bits and subs and money, right? You're not choosing to boost a stream instead of getting a sub or donating or any of that stuff. So I think that's the big main change. It's still a little weird though that you're having to essentially like paying for a stream helps boost it for discoverability. I still feel they should just make that part of the algorithm, a part of the site, right? Not something you have to pay for, but it's definitely way better than the first implementation that we saw. So that's good at least.
Yeah, a couple of good comments. Shortcake Streams said that, yes, I saw it in action. It goes at the same time as a regular hype train and says send bits and subs to boost the stream. So actually seeing it in action as well, which is interesting, because I think right now it's still kind of only on specific channels and probably rolling out very slowly. So great to hear that you've seen it in action. Unmuted Tab said, I bet the max speed is 88 miles per hour. You won't believe what happens when it's at 88 miles per hour. It wouldn't surprise me if Twitch goes really hard on this train analogy and goes even further with it. But yeah, I think that's completely changed my opinion. Like just that little bit of understanding that it's a reward for hitting a certain hype train level. I think that's a much better implementation than the old boost this streamer side of things.
It's way better, but I mean, this makes it clear that Twitch was not going to let go of this feature, right? Like, obviously, it got a lot of initial backlash when they announced the Boost My Stream stuff, despite people saying they shouldn't do it, and kind of went back to the drawing board and then came out with this version instead. So I think it just shows you they need to find something to offer a new way to monetize. It's a better version though. So if it's actually out in the wild now, people are seeing it and using it. I'd love to actually see. I haven't seen any actual pictures of it. It's just people describing it. So I'd love to see if you have like a screenshot or something. Definitely share it with us. We can show it on the show next time too.
Yeah. Tag us in a tweet if you tweet it out, or just drop it in the Gaming Careers Discord and tag either of us in that as well. Because even for the thumbnail of this podcast that I'm doing right now, I couldn't find any pictures of the Boost This Stream. No, I got to stop calling it Boost This Stream. The Boost Train. Actually being used. I had to kind of adapt the hype train one and change the text. So I think that's it. All caught up for the news. Ben, I don't know if you've seen any questions in chat that we want to cover since we've got a few minutes left for our normal length.
Definitely. I think we're trying to add more questions into the end of the show, guys. So feel free to ask questions during the show or now, and we'll try and get through a couple here at the end. I did want to touch really quickly on one from last episode, which was on Hover, which Pete, maybe you can show a preview of that here. If you guys don't know what Hover is, it's basically like a TikTok type of app where it's all clips from streams and you can browse them and like upvote and downvote. Well, I guess mostly upvote and award certain clips. And it's supposed to help you get discovered as a streamer. This has been, I feel like it was very popular a little bit ago and I've seen it kind of fall off, but people are asking what we thought about it in general. I've tested this a little bit. And it seems, the one thing I'll say about this is it seems very streamer focused. Like it's all streamers posting and streamers viewing, not a lot of viewers. So I feel like it's not really any different from previous things we've seen. It's a cool interface and it's very well designed. I'll give it that. But I don't think it's necessarily a great way to grow a stream because it's for streamers, mostly for collaboration. Might be more of an opportunity there, I would think. Pete, have you seen Hover at all in the past?
To be honest, I've heard about it, but I've never been on the website until today. So yeah, that's my first experience. I would say that maybe streamers being the majority of people using the platform isn't necessarily a bad thing. I would think the majority of people even viewing on Twitch have at some point streamed on Twitch. So they would also count as streamers. It seems to me like it's basically a clip browser. I don't know how many people are actually going to see, a lot of transition from people viewing a clip to watching their next stream. But this kind of highlights how bad Twitch's experience is for browsing clips in general. Like, I know that I'm certainly not the first or only creator to have highlighted how bad Twitch's browsing of clips are. I know that Harris, I think, even did like some mock-ups of what it could look like in the Twitch app, where you could actually just browse clips. But the fact that places like Livestream Fail are as big as they are is basically because Twitch doesn't do a good job of highlighting the best clips or having a good and easy way to browse them.
Yeah, it still needs to be in-app at the end of the day. That's just like, it's a huge opportunity. Even just looking at what YouTube does with shorts, I mean, they could be doing that essentially on Twitch and make it a lot more browsable. So we'll see. I mean, they've been asking for it for years now, so I'm kind of sadly pessimistic, but it'd be great if maybe at TwitchCon this year they announce something big for that type of mobile browsing.
Yeah, Galaxy Me has said, I've used Hover. It's cool. It just needs to be directly integrated into Twitch. I shouldn't have to go to a different website for viewing clips in a form like this. So yeah, totally agree. It seems like basically, if I was one of the team working at Hover, I would be hoping for a big acquisition from Twitch, and then you can just build the feature directly in.
Yeah, that'd be huge. We did have a couple donations really quickly too. I should probably mention those from Buff Gamer and Flashpoint saying, I love Fortnite and I love Valorant. Thank you guys for those in the chat as well. I appreciate that.
Very much appreciated. Thanks, guys. Any other questions that you've seen or highlighted, or get your questions in if anybody wants, because we'll always sort of wrap them up and just highlight a couple from what we've seen. But I guess we've had enough issues that we haven't been completely eyes on the chat all of tonight.
Yeah, I've got a couple more from earlier. SSGT Games was asking about viewer counts. I think in relation to that new view that we showed, listing all the different sections, which I guess is probably referring to the fact that you can see a bunch of bots essentially in your chat, and they don't count towards your viewer count. If I had to guess, I don't think that's really something Twitch can really fix. They've done a lot to block bots and those type of things from counting towards your viewer count on purpose. So I don't see that really ever going away. I think you'll always kind of have random accounts in your channel that don't count towards the viewer count unless there's some sort of, I don't know, purge that they do down the line. I just feel like that's going to be something always there with bots kind of monitoring channels and looking for analytics, things like that. So it's hard to say for that one.
Yeah. I agree completely. I think bots being part of viewer lists is something that Twitch probably can't control, because there's not much to define what is a bot and what is a viewer. They like you said, they've already done a lot of work in the background to make sure that they're not counting bots. But in terms of showing up in chat, they have to show up in chat because they post messages in chat. Sometimes good, like the ones that you want, Stream Elements bot telling people about your new video on YouTube. Sometimes bad when it's a hate raid, but bots all the same. And maybe one more if you've got one more, Ben.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of random ones about McDonald's orders and microphones and things. I think Country Classic just asked one in general. It's kind of interesting about people spamming the report on streamers and AI just not recognizing the spamming. So this kind of goes back to the report function updates that we just talked about. I haven't heard a whole lot about people abusing reports on streamers and that actually leading to bans. But I'd be curious if that's happening in Country. Maybe that's a reason why they are actually updating this process. If it was being abused, then that would make a lot more sense in that case. Pete, have you heard anything on that matter?
I haven't heard anything, but Twitch would usually be, I think, pretty quick to be able to deal with systems like that. Like if there's an automated system that automatically bans based on spamming of reports, Twitch 100% will have thought about that, especially with all the hate raids and going around. If there was some way where people could just mass report a channel and it would get taken offline without any kind of human intervention of looking to see if it was actually worthy of a report, I'd be very surprised. Twitch is aware of those kind of things, and I'm sure whenever they build a new feature, they think now about the sort of hate side of things.
Yeah, Country Classic said it's happening and it goes along with the hate raids. I know there was a part in this article specifically that said, like one of the questions was if the report gets made many times, like, is that more likely to result in a ban? And they answered that's no. Like, part of this new update is to avoid that thing. So Country, I would guess that they made this specifically to try and combat that type of abuse. So hopefully we'll see less of that now, but definitely keep us updated if that's happening, because I just haven't seen as much of it on Twitch, but it definitely could be happening.
Yeah, I didn't actually even realize there was an FAQ at the bottom, but exactly like you said, does mass reporting increase the chance of enforcement? They say no, but well worth having a look through the Q&A. Seems like they're covering a lot of the different questions that people have about DMCA and stuff in that new reporting window and the appeal process and all those kind of things. So that'll probably do it for this week, I think. We're back to our normal weekly cadence. I've got no more holidays planned, and we hopefully have no more illnesses. At least we combined our illnesses on the same week, Ben. That was very clever of us.
That was convenient, yeah.
We have a huge ocean between us. But yeah, just a thanks again for everybody that's helped out with the issues that we've had tonight. Sorry about the echo at the very start and Ben's streaming PC issues. But the people listening on the podcast, they have no idea about it. So the people listening on the podcast especially, you need to be rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, because I've probably done some editing to make sure that you didn't hear the the issues that we had at the beginning. And thanks to all the people watching live. If you are listening to this and not watching live, we do live stream this show on the Gaming Careers YouTube channel, usually every single Monday. You can always find out when the next podcast is happening by going to gamingcareers.com/podcast. There's a little countdown timer at the top, or there will be as soon as I've finished publishing this episode and start the countdown for next week. And you can always find out when we're next live, and all the VODs from these live streams also always exist on the Gaming Careers YouTube channel. They're unlisted, so they're in a playlist on the Gaming Careers YouTube channel homepage. So if you just go to youtube.com/gamingcareers, you'll see a little playlist of all of these podcasts if you do want to watch them back rather than listen to them back. But I think that'll probably do it for us. So I'll do my sign if you do yours, Ben. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Yep. Thanks for everybody. See ya.